No.
You want to do
okay.
Q&A, or I don't know how you want to.
Okay. Now, when it comes to Viking history, like, it's stated it started at the siege at Lindisfarne. Is that correct?
Around 793. That's why, as a group as a whole, Jomsborg, we tend to portray from the year 793 to 1066, which is, the Battle of Stamford Bridge.
The end of the Viking Age. But as well, many people watch the series Vikings, and do you agree with that?
It's very entertaining.
That's about it.
I accept it for its entertainment value and the fact it does bring a lot of attention to the Viking Age. They just kind of mosh everything together and just kind of use it to their advantage. Like I said, fortunately it does bring a lot of attention to the Viking Age and allows us to actually get out there and get the history of the actual Viking Age out to more people.
Yeah, and speak the real truth and not, because I even hear that the daughters of Texas, when the Texas Rising came out, they faced the same problem.
Yep.
Do you guys actually face the same problem with some so-called people?
We do a lot. And between TV shows and then the LARP community, everybody tries to throw everything together and mosh posh us, and so we're constantly having to go, well, this is what we actually do, this is who we actually are, this is what actually happened. We explain a lot of stuff from the sagas, because they're loosely basing the TV show off the saga of Ragnar Lothbrok.
And Lothbrok means hairy trousers, correct?
Right, it was basically goat-haired pants.
Some people also state it was actually bear or wolf after what he killed.
I've heard both sides. Most of what I've seen has been like goat or sheepskin, sheep hair or mohair, whatever you want to call it at the time.
And it's stated that was supposed to be his armor, correct?
If it was just leather pants, it's possible. Because some of us, there's not a lot of historical finds on leather because leather biodegrades rather quickly in the soil. But we do wear leather, lamellar, and stuff like that. Some of the fighters do, because we know lamellar was in use, and leather was pretty useful.
Yeah, and it's stated. Now I don't know if you know this guy. He has his own channel. His channel is Skullgrim, and
yes.
He's done Viking style shields and stuff. Do you do the same way like he does, or?
Some guys do the full recreation of the shields, so they actually do plank shields. They plane them down the way they're supposed to be and everything. But for what we do with our competitive fighting, majority of what we use is plywood. And then we laminate it using the wood glue and actual linen.
Okay, now your sword, it's a Viking Age version, and as well that's a Brazil nut, as they call it?
This is actually a Type H. Peterson Type H length sax.
Yeah, and that's blunted.
Yeah, it's blunted because we actually make contact while we're fighting.
Yes, and
our fighting's not scripted. We do competitive fights. We do our show fights as well, but most of what we do is completely unscripted fights.
Now your group, it's called the...
It is Jomsborg is the general name that most people go off of, but it's the Army or Brotherhood of Jomsborg. It's an international organization started in Europe. Been here in Texas about 14 years or so. And they've been doing Highland Games. This is where I discovered Jomsborg was at the Highland Games about 5 years ago.
Now, I hear this big fantasy theory that Vikings carried double-headed axes and had horns on their helmets, but that's not true at all, is it?
The horns on the helmet was due to the opera writer Wagner. He's the one that threw the horns on there for theatrical purposes. Vikings did not have horns on their helmets. As far as the double-bladed axes, that's a later period type item, later in the medieval age.
Yeah, because I see more of those on halberds than I do on
and you'd see the large like Dane axes like this one. This one's actually based on a historical find, but of course it's blunted because we still fight with it.
And it also looks like one of the I don't, if I remember correctly, a gallows glass axe, because technically it has more of a straight.
Well, this one's actually based off a find from Finland, and it had this horn on it so that it could be used for thrusting as well as the cut. So they would chop and they would thrust with these.
Yeesh. Now, the Saxes.
Yes.
Now, I hear that the term of the Sax, which it's stated that the Sax that's actually how the Saxons got their name. Is that actually kind of true?
That can be debated. Sax roughly means knife. because we have just regular sacks. This is a lang sax, which would be long knife. All saxes are generally single-edged weapons. And you also have what's known as a middle sax, which is in between the two lengths. So sax has been roughly translated as middle because it's even spelt different than Saxon.
Now the boots that you wear, these are technically like because normally I hear that Vikings sometimes had knee-high boots. Is that actually true?
I've seen mid-shin. Again, it's leather products, so stuff degrades. But there have been actual finds of the boots. Some I've seen. The higher you go, the more you tend to go towards the Rus-style Vikings, the Eastern-style Vikings.
Oh, like the Slavic people
Right.
and the Slavic kingdoms.
Right, and that's where you get the Rus pants and stuff like this. Rus means to row.
And that's how the Russians got their name.
Exactly.
But now, as well, when I also view the rest part of your kit, it's like, let me guess, that's a coin bag and normal
coin bag and just a regular turn pouch.
And as well, the Viking Thor, the Viking Thor's hammer.
Which, this is actually the Flexstad hammer. I actually cast this one myself.
Bought this one.
Yeah, this is actually cast off a sterling silver replica of the actual Flexstad hammer that was found in summer of 2015 over in Norway. And so I got a sterling silver copy of that and I used it to make a master mold. And so this was actually the very first one I ever cast.
Now, how many members are actually in your group, actually?
That can be up to debate. I don't know how many are here today. The San Antonio, we have Houston and San Antonio as one group, and we average about 43. The main guys out of Austin, they comprise San Marcos, Austin, Dallas, and I think they're floating up in the high 60s. But then, like, we're part of East Storm. There's 5 storms in Jomsborg, north, south, east, west, and then Utland. My group's part of East Storm. Utland does most of the Western Hemisphere. So they're in Boston, they're all over South America. We got guys down in Monterrey, Mexico. There's some guys out in Seattle, there's guys in Georgia and Florida. So it's literally a worldwide brotherhood.
But now you guys stated you're in Austin, right?
Yes.
Oh, so you guys mostly of the time do all your training and stuff over there?
They do theirs here. The San Antonio group, we fight here and we fight in Houston. We do weekly trainings, Saturday, Sunday. Some guys do midweek trainings as well. It's whatever's convenient for everybody to be able to get together and fight together.
Okay, can you please show me around your camp?
Absolutely. These are the Viking-style A-frame tents, which were built to where they could actually pop out in the awnings, just like you see here.
Pretty amazing if you look at them.
You can actually, because of the way they're set up, you can literally grab it by the bottom. 4 guys on the corner, pick it up and move it anywhere you want to go.
Yeah, just like when the comes with the Vikings.
It's
pushing.
highly portable.
Now these are also different types of weapons they also might have used, like...
Yeah, single hand spear, hand axes. That's one of the shields we're talking about that we make. And this is just a larger broadsword. This one's actually mine.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
But I use the thicker sword when we do what's called Eastern style fighting, which is a heavily armored fighting. So we'd have on a gambeson, chainmail, or lamellar armor, and we have to wear a helmet because we actually hit in the head during the fight.
Yeah, and that's a Slavic version style?
That helmet is based off what's known as the Black Grave.
Oh.
But yeah, that's a Slavic Rus style helmet. I haven't seen anybody bring out one of the actual Western style Viking helmets.
And that guy is over there. He's wearing laminar, correct?
Yeah, that would be lamellar.
Now, technically, it's both in leather and in steel, right?
Right. It could be steel, it could be brass, just whatever material they could make out of it.
I've even heard that there's even earlier versions that are made out of bone.
It's possible. I've never seen it. Again, it's one of those things that
I think
decomposes.
I think Skullgrim actually talked about that once.
No. I know that I've seen some that are boar tusk that have been split and they made a helmet out of it. But that's more during the migration period than it was the actual Viking Age.
And that flag that's flying over there, that's Ragnar's flag, if I'm correct?
Just the Raven banner. It's up to debate. There were a lot of different ones in the community that used the Raven banner because Raven is a symbol of Odin. So the actual pattern that Ragnar used is up for debate. We do know that he had a Raven banner.
And these gloves right here, those are what you guys use in your reenactments?
Yeah, those are just to keep our hands from getting broken by the steel weapons.
Yeah, because I do hear some people claim that Vikings use those in historical.
There's no historical basis for it. That's just what we use for safety. Because we break ourselves, we can't play anymore.
That is kind of a messed up joke.
Well, it is what it is.
Shall we move on into the rest?
These are some recreated spearheads that we actually use for the fighting. That's why they got the blunted tips. And then all this items being created from antler and bone, bennets, spoons, beads, whistle,
and
rings,
runes.
Yep, ear spoons, which would be the equivalent of a Q-tip nowadays. Toothpicks, sewing needles.
So wait, these are Q-tips?
No, yeah, basically a Q-tip,
Ear
bone
spoons.
spoons. Yeah, they're known as ear spoons, but it'd be considered a Q-tip nowadays.
Yeah, in fact, I actually have seen some of these remade online from brass.
I've got a brass one.
These are actually embroidery needles, not toothpicks. Is that what you meant?
No, I was talking about, I thought these were the picks.
Oh no, those are cloak pins. They actually work.
Question, what is this supposed to be right here?
So that is a needle case.
Oh.
Give me a second.
Yeah, she's actually spinning yarn right now.
Oh yeah, because this is the old-fashioned way.
Yep.
I don't have a spinning wheel. So this is a needle case. So you put your needle in here, and that's just to keep it from getting stepped on and broken, especially these little guys, pretty fragile. And then you just hang it from here.
Oh.
And this one's just sideways.
Oh, so pretty much it's easy to carry around.
It's got a little hollow bit in there. You could actually take one of these and pop it in there.
So this was like a portable first aid kit.
Well, sewing,
Hi, how are y'all doing?
repairing clothes, all that kind of stuff.
Now this hat over here, this is traditionally Viking or?
It's more of a Slavic style. There's a lot of different types of hats that you'll see. These, I think they're 5 or 6 panels, but then you got like the one that Ron's wearing is a null bind. It's almost the equivalent of like knitting. But then you'll see the ones that point almost like the Santa Claus style hat.
Oh yes.
There's a lot of different styles of hats.
I need to take photos of the fashion show.
But as well, I also see some of you guys are walking around with furs on and stuff. Where do you get those?
A lot of different places, a lot of different vendors. Some of us have actually got, up in Quebec, we have guys that actually, that's one of the ways to make their livings. They go out hunting. So they treat the hides and they turn around and they sell the hides.
15, I think we're doing the shirts, and then 2 for 25.
All right.
Because all the furs would be used for warmth,
It's the big items.
bedding. I mean, it'd be used for all kinds of different things.
And just make up stuff on the other.
All right, then, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely.